What do we have here? Brian Hartley, 1214 Harlow Street. Open your mouth, Brian.
Oh,
This is one of those life-altering moments. Say it again.
I understand.
You swear?
I swear.
We clear?
Inside a car, two people struggled violently, the vehicle rocking with each movement, but it wasn't what it seemed. The female assassin slammed the man's head against the window repeatedly, even taking a knife wound herself. She quickly drew a gun and struck him, leaving him terrified as if he had seen a demon. Begging for mercy, he was immediately shot, blood splattering everywhere. She dragged his body to the trunk and secured it. After cleaning up, the assassin walked through a nearby homeless encampment and returned to her mobile home. There, she noticed a sock hung outside the door, left for her by two children in the camp. Riley began tending to a wound on her thigh, cutting her pants with scissors to expose the bleeding area. Lacking proper medical supplies, she disinfected it with alcohol and wrapped it tightly with adhesive tape. Afterward, hunger struck, and she ate from a cake box she had received. The familiar taste brought back memories of simpler times. Just a year prior, she, her husband, and daughter had enjoyed a similar cake. Riley had once lived a normal life, managing her household and caring for her family. She and her daughter, Carly, had recently gone to a supermarket together. A dispute over a parking spot with another woman arose, but Riley calmly explained to Carly that many people were unpleasant, and fighting them all would only hurt her hands. They happily continued to her husband's workplace and then to the park to celebrate Carly's birthday. Meanwhile, Chris, Riley's husband, was approached in a store by his friend Mickey, who invited him to participate in a drug heist. Mickey pitched it as a way to provide a better life for his family. Though tempted, Chris refused, determined not to disappoint his daughter. That evening, Riley, Chris, and Carly went to the amusement park and ate pizza. As no one else had thrown a birthday party for Carly, the little girl felt dejected, having been ostracized by her friends. Meanwhile, Mickey called Chris again, trying to convince him to join the heist. When Chris refused, Mickey was arrested and revealed that Chris was supposedly involved. Acting on this, the crime boss sent henchmen to track Riley's family. As the family enjoyed their time at the park, oblivious to danger, the crime boss tortured Mickey while receiving updates on their location. He ordered the complete elimination of Riley, Chris, and Carly to send a ruthless message. Back at the park, the family celebrated Christmas, unaware that assassins were closing in, stalking them like predators. When the family left the ice cream stand, the assassins followed and bullets rained down. Chris shielded Carly, dying instantly. Riley screamed for help and was shot but survived, collapsing beside her loved ones in anguish. Police and paramedics arrived quickly, taking Riley to the hospital. Though the bullet grazed her brain, she survived. Detective Stan visited and told her survival was a gift, explaining that her husband and daughter had died instantly. 3 suspects had been detained, and Riley would soon be asked to identify them. Overwhelmed with grief, she listened as Stan revealed the attack was targeted, linked to Chris's refusal to join a drug heist planned by the notorious Diego Geria. Despite Riley's belief in her husband's innocence, she learned that Diego sought total elimination to intimidate others. Stan left her a photo booth picture of the family stained with blood, and Riley, determined, prepared to identify the suspects. Behind glass, she trembled but immediately recognized the main perpetrator. Stan, seeing her agitation, noted that proceedings would pause for now. Later, during lunch, Stan's colleague displayed a fallen inspector's badge, a warning of Diego's reach. Stan suspected a mole within the police force. His colleague cautioned that confronting Diego would put their families at risk. Riley returned home, sorting through her family's belongings. A drawing from Carly brought her to tears. A man claiming to be from the prosecutor's office arrived, offering condolences but then presenting her with a bribe to drop the case and start anew. He implied her medication had impaired her judgment, suggesting her identification of the killers was mistaken. Outraged, Riley threw him out despite his threats. At the preliminary hearing, the defense argued that Riley's head injury and medication compromised her testimony. The bribed judge ruled the 3 suspects innocent. In the courtroom, no one dared oppose the criminal gang. Riley attempted to confront the perpetrators but was restrained and forcibly removed, her cries drowned out by the criminals' laughter. Even as justice failed, Detective Stan intervened when guards tried to send her to a mental hospital. Riley seized an oxygen tank, attacked one guard, and escaped. The following day, Stan visited the graves of Chris and Carly, apologizing for the lack of justice. 5 years passed, and Riley's family tragedy had faded from public memory. Early one morning, police received a report of a murder near the Ferris Tower in Los Angeles Park. 3 bodies had been gruesomely killed and hung upside down. These were the men responsible for Riley's family tragedy years ago. Meanwhile, at headquarters, Officer Lisa learned that a weapons store had been robbed. Security footage revealed the culprit, Riley herself. After 5 years in hiding, she had returned, stronger and more dangerous than ever. This explains the film's opening scene, showing Riley seeking revenge. Stan, at the scene, received confirmation from the FBI that Riley was responsible for the 3 deaths, baffled at how a seemingly frail woman could hang 3 large men upside down on a Ferris wheel. The FBI immediately convened an emergency meeting, hesitant to confront Diego. Investigations revealed that Riley had spent the past 5 years conducting multiple crimes, stealing $55,000 from 9 banks, committing armed robberies, fleeing abroad, and working as a boxer. She used numerous fake identities to evade authorities, including exploiting Lisa's personal information. Her latest appearance was 3 months prior, stealing weapons in Los Angeles. Stan could hardly believe her transformation, from near death to a deadly avenger seeking retribution. Riley had prepared a full arsenal to target the corrupt judge who had ruled in favor of her family's killers. She bound him to a chair, gagged him, and amused herself as he begged for mercy. She nailed his hands, the same hands that had enabled the guilty to escape, and rigged explosives around him, reminding him it was the anniversary of Chris and Carly's deaths. Pressing a button on her phone, she detonated the explosives, eliminating him. The blast reached the police and FBI, while the defense lawyer was drowned in a pool. Riley's revenge was systematic, leaving no one involved alive. A nationwide warrant for her arrest was issued. Diego's henchmen learned that Riley had killed the 3 subordinates and immediately informed their boss. Diego sent a team after her while attending to the son of the Corbo gang leader, giving him one last chance before retaliation. Unaware that Riley had executed both robberies for revenge, he offered his girlfriend to pacify the visitor. Meanwhile, Riley returned to the homeless encampment, gifting a reindeer model to a friendly boy. When the boy's alcoholic father cursed, Riley threatened him, ensuring he would care for his son. She also warned a store clerk not to sell alcohol to the man, using money as leverage, then borrowed a car to pursue her next target. She arrived at Diego's heavily guarded money laundering operation, posing as a homeless woman. Using quick, precise movements, she neutralized guards and made her way upstairs, where 4 men were counting money. Riley's actions earned her the label of the nation's most dangerous armed suspect, prompting the FBI to request public assistance. One man fired at her, another panicked, and Riley took them down methodically, eliminating each threat. She cornered the money laundering accountant, forcing him to confess, then released him to report back to Diego, her official declaration of war on his drug gang. Diego was enraged as Riley burned all his money, resulting in the loss of 2 major shipments that week. He commanded his henchmen to intensify their search and eliminate her before sunset. Media reports highlighted a string of attacks on Diego's drug operations, referencing the murder of Riley's husband and daughter 5 years ago as the motive. At the same time, Stan and his team surveyed Diego's money laundering office. Lisa observed the situation escalating, noting that Riley's revenge had been carefully planned over 5 years. Stan suspected she was deliberately attracting public attention to expose past injustices. His former colleague cautioned him against interfering with Diego, warning that the danger was extreme. Diego consolidated all his henchmen to track Riley and eliminated the accountant who had betrayed the gang. Once dismissive of Riley, the drug lord was now alarmed. His operations, from laundering funds to the Corbo gang deal, were systematically collapsing, heightening his frustration. He predicted Riley would target a warehouse and laid a trap for her. That evening, Riley arrived, armed and ready. When a vehicle sped by, she quickly retrieved her weapons from the trunk and entered the warehouse, only to find a preset bomb. Diego's henchmen triggered the explosive, causing a massive blast, but Riley managed to escape through the sewer system. Detective Stan mapped high-crime areas with Lisa and the FBI to locate her, but Riley cleverly diverted their attention. Lisa noticed a peaceful, out-of-place location on the map, deducing it as Riley's hideout. Public sentiment, reflected on social media, sympathized with Riley, recognizing the court's previous miscarriage of justice that had led to her family's deaths. On the road, Riley intercepted 2 overconfident henchmen who believed they had killed her. She eliminated them efficiently and commandeered their car to infiltrate Diego's mansion. Guards, mistaking her for an accomplice, were swiftly taken down. Inside, Riley dispatched more henchmen in the dark, using her boxing skills to overcome multiple attackers simultaneously. Ultimately, Riley confronted Diego, demanding retribution for her family. His daughter appeared, distracting Riley, and Diego stabbed her, fleeing with her in his arms. Injured, Riley escaped to an old friend's home, the same woman who had caused a minor dispute 5 years prior, where she treated her wounds and prepared to continue tracking Diego's illicit activities alongside Lisa and Stan. Riley continued her vigilant mission, monitoring Diego's criminal operations and safeguarding the homeless community. Her actions were calculated and focused on neutralizing threats rather than being malicious. The FBI aimed to apprehend her alive and without harm. Unbeknownst to them, Stan had become Diego's insider, compromising investigations and aiding the gang. He attempted to assassinate lead agent Lisa, but 2 children witnessed the attempt. After disposing of her body, Stan reported back to Diego, who deployed his forces to surround the neighborhood and find Riley. Inside an abandoned warehouse, Riley, weakened from blood loss, was roused by the memory of her daughter's voice. An assassin approached, tracking her by blood. Riley crushed him with a metal crate, seized his weapons, and ambushed the remaining attackers. Using a walkie-talkie, she ordered all intruders to leave immediately, warning Diego that any threat to innocence would be met with lethal force. Diego attempted to negotiate, claiming Riley was alone and injured. She continued her calculated offensive, while the FBI struggled to locate her after losing contact with Lisa and noticing Stan's suspicious disappearance. Riley live-streamed her operation, exposing Diego's criminal activities and revealing Stan's betrayal. To protect 2 captured children, Riley agreed to confront Diego. He assaulted her physically, but the police arrived just in time. Riley confronted Stan, punching him and drawing blood, while she prepared to confront Diego. Provoked by insults to her family, she shot Diego in the head, ignoring FBI attempts to prevent lethal action. After completing her mission of vengeance, Riley returned to the graves of Chris and Carly, utterly exhausted and collapsing from fatigue. News outlets covered the story, with public sentiment largely in her favor, though legally she remained in violation. Riley was hospitalized for treatment, and Moises, an ally, pledged to assist her, even leaving the keys to her restraints as a gesture of support. The film concludes with the message that justice, while sometimes delayed, ultimately prevails, and that truth will always emerge. Even when obstructed by injustice, lies, or ruthless power, justice eventually finds its way. Often the righteous endure suffering while the wicked appear to prosper, but time is the ultimate judge, and the truth will inevitably come to light. Justice is not meant to soothe, but to set things right. Even if it arrives late, it remains a guiding light for those who act righteously. And that is how it ended. Please like the video and subscribe for more videos like this. It really helps the channel out. I'll see you on the next one.